Here's something that probably sounds familiar. You ask AI to write something in a friendly but professional tone, and what you get back is not quite right. Maybe it's too stiff or too casual, or somehow both at once. So you try again. Make it more conversational. Still not quite there. Keep it professional but approachable. Getting warmer, but you're basically playing word association, hoping AI eventually lands on what you actually want. There's a better way, and it's not about finding the perfect description. It's about stopping the guessing game entirely by showing AI exactly what you want instead of making it guess. Here's what most of us do. We describe the result we want using abstract terms. Write in a friendly tone, make it sound professional, keep it casual but polished. And here's the problem. Every one of those phrases could mean 100 different things. Friendly to you might mean warm and personal. To AI, it might mean using exclamation points and emoji. Professional could be corporate formal, or it could be confident but relaxed. When you use these descriptors, you're essentially asking AI to guess which of the thousands of patterns in its training matches what you mean by friendly or professional. Sometimes it guesses right, oftentimes it doesn't. And you end up in this loop of regenerating and refining, hoping it eventually clicks. Instead of describing what you want, show it. Give AI an actual example of text that embodies exactly what you're looking for. Look at the difference. Instead of saying write in a friendly but professional tone, you provide actual text. Hi Sarah, thanks for taking the time to review the proposal. I've incorporated your feedback on the timeline and budget sections. Let me know if you'd like to discuss any of the changes. Happy to jump on a call this week. Now there's no ambiguity. AI can see the specific tone, the structure, and the level of detail. You've eliminated the interpretation layer entirely. And here's what happens when you provide an example. You're giving AI a concrete pattern to match rather than an abstract concept to interpret. Think about it this way. AI completes patterns. When you describe something, it has to search through its training for patterns that match your description. When you show it something, you're pointing directly at the pattern you want. The example becomes part of the context AI uses to generate its response. It's not guessing anymore. It's matching. And matching is something AI is really good at. So this connects directly back to what we covered in the first video of the series. AI doesn't think or reason. It completes patterns based on what it learned during training. When you describe something, AI is pattern guessing. It's looking at your words and trying to figure out which of the thousands of possible patterns you mean. When you provide an example, AI is pattern matching. It sees the exact pattern and can replicate it. The puzzle pieces aren't scattered anymore. You've handed AI the exact piece it needs to complete the pattern you want. There are two main approaches to using examples, and they serve different purposes: one-shot learning and few-shot learning. One-shot means you provide a single example to demonstrate the pattern. Few-shot means you provide multiple examples to show variation and boundaries. Both techniques leverage the same principle, showing instead of telling, but you choose between them based on what you're trying to accomplish. One-shot learning is straightforward. You show AI one example of what you want, and it matches the pattern. This works great for simple, consistent tasks. Data formatting, basic transformations, repetitive operations, where you need the same structure every time. One example establishes the pattern clearly enough that AI can replicate it reliably. Think of it like showing someone how to fold the letter once. If you fold it always the same, one demonstration is enough. Few-shot learning uses multiple examples to teach AI not just the pattern, but the boundaries and flexibility within that pattern. This is for nuanced tasks where there's acceptable variation. The first example shows one approach. The second shows what acceptable variation looks like. The third helps define where the boundaries are. You're essentially showing AI, this is the range of acceptable outputs. Stay within this zone, but you have flexibility to adapt. Now here's something important. More examples don't automatically mean better results. 2 or 3 great examples beat 10 mediocre ones every time. Once you've shown the pattern and its boundaries, adding more examples usually just adds noise. Think about quality in 3 ways. First, each example should clearly demonstrate the pattern, not a simplified version, not a partial demonstration. Second, if you're using few-shot, your examples should cover the range you want. And third, don't fall into the trap of thinking, maybe if I add a few more examples, it'll work better. Beyond 3 or 4 examples, you're typically getting diminishing returns. So what makes an example actually useful? There's 4 things. First, it shows the actual format and style you want, not a description of the style itself demonstrated in real text. Second, it includes all the relevant details: tone, structure, length, formatting, specificity level. If these elements matter in your desired output, they need to be present in your example. Third, it represents the difficulty level of your actual task. Don't show a simple example and then expect AI to handle something complex. Match the complexity. And fourth, avoid the trap of oversimplification. No truncated examples, no placeholder text. Show the complete pattern you want replicated. Let's look at the difference in practice. A bad example for a professional email tone might be something like, "Hi, thanks." That's not enough. There's no structure, no context, no actual substance to pattern match against. A good example provides full context. "Hi, Sarah. Thanks for sending over the Q3 report. I reviewed the projections and they look solid. Just had a quick question about the marketing budget allocation on page 7. Could we schedule 15 minutes this week to discuss?" Now you can see the tone, the structure, the level of detail. That's what AI needs to match the pattern accurately. One shot works best for straightforward scenarios, simple repetitive tasks where the transformation needs to happen consistently. Format conversations, data restructuring, basic templates. If the task is about applying the same structure over and over, one clear example is usually enough. You're not asking for nuance, you're asking for consistency. Few shot is for situations with more nuance. When the task requires judgment, when the tone and style matter, when you need to show what's acceptable and what's not. Writing tasks almost always benefit from few shot. Marketing copy, emails, content creation, these need examples that show the range of acceptable variation. One example might be too rigid. 3 examples show AI, here's the pattern, and here's how much flexibility you have within it. Let's look at this in practice. Say you want emails that are professional but friendly, not stiff, not too casual. Instead of describing that balance, show 3 examples. The first might start with, "Hey Marcus," and have a conversational flow. The second might use, "Hi Priya," and be slightly more structured. The third uses, "Good morning team," for a group context. Each one demonstrates the same underlying tone balance, but with a natural variation based on context. AI sees the pattern and the boundaries. It understands what professional but friendly means in actual practice, not abstract theory. Here's a one-shot scenario. You've got messy contact data in all different formats, some comma separated, some with dashes, some with pipes, phone numbers formatted inconsistently. You show AI 2 examples of clean structured output. Name on one line, email below, department, phone number in standard format. The pattern is clear and consistent. Now, AI can take hundreds of messy entries and format them all identically because you've shown exactly what the end result should look like. And this is where few shot really shines. Say you want AI to match a specific writing voice, conversational, present tense narration with internal observation. You provide 2 examples that demonstrate these elements. The dashboard loading with usual morning sluggishness, someone scanning an email and feeling that familiar knot. These show the specific style markers, the tone, the narrative perspective, the type of observation that matters. You're not describing the style, you're demonstrating it in actual prose that AI can pattern match against. So practically speaking, how many examples should you use? One example is a good start. It establishes the basic pattern for simple tasks. 2 to 3 examples is the sweet spot for most scenarios, enough to show the pattern and its boundaries without overwhelming. 5 or more examples is usually unnecessary. Beyond 3 or 4, you're typically not adding meaningful new information. Start simple. Add examples if needed, but resist the urge to keep piling them on, hoping it helps. Quality and clarity matter more than quantity. Examples are powerful, but they're not magic. 3 limitations to keep in mind. First, examples guide but don't control. AI uses them as strong signals, but the output is still generated through pattern completion, not template filling. Expect some variation. Second, AI can still deviate. Pattern matching isn't perfect copying. The AI synthesizes from its training data plus your examples, which means unexpected variations can happen. And third, quality in equals quality out. If your examples are inconsistent, incomplete, or unclear, the output will reflect those weaknesses. Garbage in, garbage out applies here. Here's a simple way to decide when to invest time in crafting examples. Start without examples for simple tasks. Try clear descriptions first. It might be enough. If the results are generic or missing the mark, add one example to show the pattern. If it's still not quite right, add 2 or 3 examples to show the range or boundaries. Think of it as progressive enhancement. Start simple, add complexity only when needed. Here's what you need to remember. Examples activate specific patterns in AI's training. When description alone isn't working, use 2 or 3 quality examples to transform vague requests into precise demonstrations. This is part of the Making AI Make Sense series, where we're building genuine understanding of how AI works so you can use it more effectively. If you found this useful, subscribe for more videos in the series. And if you need more help applying these techniques in your business, from prompt engineering to full workflow optimization, that's what we do at Eau Claire AI. Visit eauclaireai.com to learn more. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.